Now, Phil, I've got to bring this up because we're having a chat about it before, but now that Gather Round's completed and Port Adelaide tore the old Hawks a new one, they've gone off Kenny a little bit, the old journos, mate. He was under the pump Wednesday, and now he's king of coaches.
You like to poke the bear a bit. You know where I sit with the coaches, mate.
Well,
so I've said this many times, and you're right in what you've said. So at the start of the year, Kenny's under the pump. We don't understand the transition, and that's fine if you need to get your head around it, but let's see how it plays out. You can't go, oh, it didn't work for Malthouse and Buckley. What that means it might not work for Carr and Hinkley, does it? So every situation's a little bit different.
True.
But from the start of the season, every week, one or two coaches are now under the pump. Now it's Simon Goodwin's turn right now.
Yes, it is.
Because Melbourne are not going all that. Well, we're talking about a previous premiership coach, so it's not like, what, you reckon he's stopped coaching, do you? You think the game's gone past him? Because no other team goes up and down. I mean, every team just wins it every year. So there are periods in every sport across the world. We're up the top, then we come down a bit, then we come up. That's how it's designed. That's how the AFL want it to. So you need to bear that in mind. But I still think all the coaches should get together at the end of the week. I know it's difficult. Just make a phone call and go, which journalist do we reckon's pretty average this week? And then at their very next press conference, they all come out. All the coaches, the first thing they start, because I watched the show last night, and they start the show with the coaches that are under the pump this week. So I reckon the coaches could come out and go, the journalists that have got it wrong and continually get it wrong, I reckon they're on the nose.
Down to the pump.
I reckon the media should, and every press conference for the week, they pound those guys. And I think they need to understand the impact that it has, not just on the coaches, their family, the club, the supporters, everything. And I know it's a story, and I get that side of it. But every week it's a different coach.
Well,
I guarantee you, if the Crows lose this week, it'll be Nixie's turn. They'll be on Nixie.
What are you doing?
And then the next week it'll be someone else. So it rises and falls on wins and losses. And it can't be just solely on that. It just can't be.
This morning, the first article I read on football was the Demons looking at Luke Beveridge. That's the first thing I read.
Well, at the start of the year, Bevo was under the pump.
That's
so he's not
right.
under the pump if he goes to another club. So it's just offensive to Beveridge.
It's offensive to everybody, to me, because that's
And
right.
the
Look at
goodie
Bevo.
now.
Bevo's he's got the Bulldogs to worry about. Now all of a sudden he's been linked to Melbourne. So in comes the CEO. Excuse me, mate, you haven't been talking to Melbourne, have you? Well, no, I haven't, mate. Well, that's just that idiot.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine if
Get on with it.
If I said, I reckon Tom Morris is doing, I don't think he's doing very good. He's got a lot of the coaches offside at the moment. He's actually been wrong in some of the comments he's made. I reckon James Hurd's going to take his job. I reckon Hurdy's going to host the show from now on, and he's out. You know, so
how would they react to that?
Horrific. They're horrific at it. When you
right.
come at them, they get their backs up and they fight back and they go, how can you say that? And you go, well, how are you saying it? So I think there needs to be a little bit of just tread carefully, boys.
Well, I think they all should tread carefully because
there's enough pressure without you adding some extra speculation on something that's not right.
The coaches don't need it, mate. We're round, what are we, round 5?
Well,
give
round
me
5.
We've got 23 rounds.
So someone asked me on the weekend at Gather Round, who's going to play in the grand final this year?
That's
I said, well, we're 5 games in. So
that's right.
I've heard over the journey, there have been media where coaches have made it into the grand final, lost the grand final, they're going, they need to get rid of him. Do you reckon it's that easy to get in the grand final?
Well, that's always been my point with Hinkley, though, mate. I mean, we know how hard this is to win an AFL premiership. We know how difficult it is to win one. If you look at his record, he's the winningest coach in the AFL, by percentage-wise, but by a mile, by the way. He's been in, 3 or 4 preliminary finals in the last 4 or 5 years. To get into this thing, he hasn't made it, but come on, he's not bottom.
No.
He's not second to bottom and finished 15th and 12th.
There's more to it as well. I think if you talk about Ken, I know because you're a Port man, but you go, when he came, there were tarps at the stand.
Exactly.
So he's not only built the club to getting into the finals, he's also built outside of that.
Exactly.
So I know there are other people involved in it, the marketing people, and I'm not saying that they haven't played a huge part in it, but he's played the big part.
Yeah, my word.
If the show on the ground's no good, you can't sell it.
That's the same with the show off the ground. They got Keith Thomas in the same time.
Yeah.
It was a perfect mix.
So,
but Port Adelaide people are weird, mate. Well, when I say they're weird, they've been so used to success. The 37 premierships, they're winning premierships all over the place. What'd they win? They won, I think they won 7 out of 10 in the 90s.
But you're
Ridiculous.
talking about
Well,
playing
80s, 90s.
and no disrespect, because that was the level then that they played at. But the SANFL's not the AFL.
No, but it's still successful.
So because you're used to it, you're used to what you said is right. We're used to success. we expect success. There's nothing wrong with expecting success, but have a bit of reality around it.
Well, that's right.
There
That's
is
what I'm
no
saying.
club since the AFL started that's dominated for 7 or 8 premierships in a row.
Yeah, that's right.
Brisbane are best with 3.
And it won't happen. Yeah.
You know, Hawthorn had 3, but they had a gap in between. So Brisbane's only won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So you go 3 in a row in 30 years. It might be an indicator that it's just not that easy.
It's
but
a
the
hard thing to
AFL have
do.
also set it up that way.
Of course
You
they
know,
have,
you have
yeah.
the draft.
Yeah.
They want teams to come up and they want teams to go down. That's how they want it to work.
So who were the biggest losers over Gather Round?
Well, certainly wasn't the City of South Australia. We were the biggest winner
Brilliant.
over Gather Round.
Well,
It was
we always do it
fantastic.
well.
And now
We've said this before. No matter what you put on, we could put on a marble game and get 50,000 at it. Adelaide, South Australia, they just do it well. They just do it well.
I don't know if there was any losers. But, I mean, obviously teams lose and you go, was it Hawthorn? And suddenly, mate, Hawthorn that was seen as the grand final, Port, give it to them in the first time. Now Hawthorn are no good.
That's
Yeah,
right.
maybe Sam Mitchell's got a few holes in his car. I heard someone say that the other day. Hang on, a week ago you were saying how good he was,
They were 4-0.
and now he's no good anymore.
They
He's
were
lost a game.
4-0 coming in.
We just can't be critical on wins and losses.
It was a cracking game though. You look at that game and you go, that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Not just because Port tore them a new one, but it was the way the game was built up and pressure and and all that. It was brilliant. It was great to watch. Fantastic to watch. And I'm going to have a crack here.
It's unusual because you don't normally.
No, I know. I'm going to have a crack at Adelaide. Not Adelaide the team, because I think Adelaide are a good team.
At Adelaide,
Fans, stop the booing. And mate.
No, it's pretty sad.
No,
that
come
was
on.
pretty sad. That
Phil,
may be the loser. You might be right there.
It was hard
the
to watch,
Dangerfield,
mate.
Yeah, there's
Not
no
only
need for it.
Dangerfield, they booed
No
everything.
need. Yeah, it's no
They
need
booed
for
the
it.
umps, they booed Stengel, they booed everything.
Yeah.
And on the TV, it was really difficult to watch. You go, hang on, be quiet. Because, don't get... Adelaide fans, I know you come, oh, here we go, Baz having a go at Adelaide again. I'm not having a go at their team, because I think their team is very good. But I'm having a
go. Are the
go.
Port fans any different?
Did you?
Do they boo? Do they boo?
Well, mate, you might hear a boo. We're talking 30,000
Are the
boos.
Bulldogs fans any different? Are the Carlton fans any different?
This mob is the worst by a mile.
Worse than Collingwood?
By a mile.
Righto.
By a street.
Yep. Okay.
Collingwood fans understand the game at least.
Okay.
So a lot of Adelaide fans
So
don't.
different. It's different.
It's different.
Yep.
It comes across as just, what are you doing? Stop booing, because the Dangerfield left him 10 years ago, mate.
And he left the right way.
And he did the right thing. I love Adelaide, thank you,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah.
And he gave his best advice. He wanted to go home and be with his family. I don't see anything wrong with that. It wasn't...
It's just the booing, mate.
Yeah.
Please stop.
Stop it.
Because
Yeah.
it
Fair
comes
call.
across as you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's how it comes across.
Well, it's personal.
Give it a rest, you know.
Yeah.
But don't boo. See, they started booing Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Then they booed Stengel, who left him as well. It's fine. But then they started booing the umps. And then Dangerfield gets the ball, so they're booing him again. So then Stengel gets a boo. Then there's another free kick to whoever they were playing.
So I'm interested in your take on this then. So if you say the boo's out, what about when a player goes down the race and his mate's copping a plenty and he flips him the bird? And then he gets fined for that.
Yeah.
So again, you know how I say often, you can't have it both ways.
No.
So if you're going to fine the player
Yeah.
in the moment for defending his teammate,
Yeah.
then surely there has to be a penalty for the bozo that's making those comments that makes him react that way.
I believe they're chasing him, mate. Well, I believe they're after him.
So my question is, why are you finding one and doing nothing with the other?
That's the thing.
So we're chasing him. Like, well, it's hard to get the fan because there's 40,000 of them. Well, I get that. Then leave the player alone.
Well, I haven't heard anything so far this week, and I know it's early.
I'll always defend the player in the coach, unless
Absolutely,
it's out of line.
Absolutely.
You know.
From what we hear, it was a pretty vulgar comment.
Yeah.
So he deserved to get a bird. Maybe deserved to get a one on the nose for saying it. But anyway, that's another. I haven't seen any fines come out of the Port Hawthorn game yet. Now, hey, think about this, mate. Think about this. This is wrestling and carrying on and pulling jumpers and dropping blokes on the ground and unduly rough. Where's all the fines? And now, hey, it's only Tuesday, so that could all easily happen.
Well, you know, we were the first to say that we thought Ken should get his 20,000 refunded.
We were
now,
the
this
first.
was weeks and weeks before Gather Round started.
That's
because we
right.
said, sure as anything, they're going to use that promotion of Kenny doing the aeroplane and they're going to build it. Oh, that's great. It's theatre and we want all of that.
Yeah.
But you can't have it both ways.
Well, I want to get my
Can't fine Ken
man
20,
Yeah.
and then it's even worse for Port Adelaide
Yeah.
because it's Gather Round. So all the promotion using Kenny doesn't help their clubs. No money in their coffers.
That's right.
Would have been better if it was round 10 and it was
Nothing.
Port playing Hawthorn and it was a Port game.
Yeah.
I get that. So you go, hang on a minute, we'll fine you. Then we'll use the footage, but you don't get anything for it. So
That's
it's a
right.
double whack. Here's a 20 grander,
Yeah.
and you're not getting anything after we use the promo material.
When I
So-
get my man Zach, he's
Yep.
got to look that up because
Yep.
you were the first to say that about giving me his 20 grand back. Now they're all on the bandwagon.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No big deal.
Ken Hinkley's done an aeroplane.
Yeah.
Not really anything wrong with that, but
20
there's 20
grand.
grand on that one and nothing. So I think if there's a precedent set, you've got to stick with the precedent. So I think there's validity in what you're saying there. For mine then, if Ken's not given his 20 grand back, I think Ken's got every right to say to the AFL, you can't use that promo for gather round when Hawthorn play Port Adelaide. You can't have it both ways.
Wow.
Can't
Bingo.
go-
Give me his 20 grand
Give me
back.
20 grand
but to me, it's common sense.
Yeah.
Because of those other two coaches that had that little Kingsley and McRae, who
Yep.
had the
Yeah,
no,
little tap on the shoulder.
No.
Mate, in the end, the coaches are under enough pressure.
Yeah.
Again, I'll come back to the start. I just don't think we need every week for the start of the show to be coaches that are under pressure this
I
week.
agree, mate. Wholeheartedly.
So
Wholeheartedly.
I think if they're going to do that, then the coaches should be able to go, you know what? Here's the journo we think's under the pressure this week.
Yeah.
And every press conference they go to, they bring it up.
Let me tell you someone else is under the pump before we go.
Who?
Ange Postecoglou.
Oh, he has been a little under the pump, hasn't he?
A little.
Mate,
Hello.
there's a classic case, though, mate, of a year ago or 18 months ago, absolutely loved him.
Sang a song about
Absolutely
him.
loved him.
Sang
Now,
a song about
I'll ask
him.
you this question. Is Ange a better coach now than he was 18 months ago?
Yeah.
You say, without doubt. He's learned a few more things.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute, now he's no good.
Now he's no good.
Based on we're losing.
Yeah.
So can we have a look at what players he's lost, what injuries have happened, who's playing? So if you have a good look at the AFL, and I get asked this by people tipping.
Yeah.
What do you reckon we should do if we're going to tip? So my advice to you is have a look during the week which players are injured.
Yeah. Who's
And
in,
then,
who's out.
and then
yeah.
that'll give you a fair
He's
indicator.
had
Don't
a
worry if
horror
they're-
run, mate. He's had a
So
horror run.
there you go.
Yeah.
So
But they don't care. They don't care.
as a coach, it's really simple. Your job as a coach is to get the players to play as well as they can.
Yeah.
Now, if they're playing as well as they can and they can't win, we haven't got enough talent. We can't blame the coach solely for that because that's on
Postecoglou
again.
said that a number of times.
So-
the blokes out there are trying their best.
And if they're playing their
Absolute
best,
best.
they're playing their best. Just hasn't got enough
Yeah.
talent.
But we
If they're playing poorly, now you can have a different look at
Yeah.
it.
The only thing in their favour is they're still in the Europa League.
Yep.
If they win the Europa League, I believe they'll go into the Champions League. I think they'll play. That's the biggest you can get. So if he wins the Europa League and Tottenham get into the Champions League next year, which is worth, I think a few years ago it was worth instantly. Oh no, that's in the Premier League. If you get promoted out of the Division Championship, whatever, into the Premier League, there's 83 million straight in the bank account. There you
Help
go.
you?
There
Make
you
you
go.
feel a lot better.
There
Keep
you
your
go,
job for
mate.
that.
Yeah, there you go, mate.
I'm reading. We'll close on this. I'm reading a book at the moment about one of the great soccer coaches. Arsenal's one of Arsenal's best. I won't bother about identifying him, but he says in the book at the start, when he first got the job, he was religious. He had his Bible with him,
Yeah.
and he used to walk out into his office praying for a win. Months later, they were struggling, so he still carried his Bible, but he started praying for talent.
Yeah.
He said, I don't care about the winning. Can
Yeah.
you just give me some talent?
Yeah, that's right.
So, and that's how,
Yeah.
there it is.
Help
If
me
you,
out.
you know,
Yeah.
you need the right talent, but you've got
Yeah.
to have the talent.
Yep.
So, yeah, cut on some slack. That's what I say.
Good one, mate. Hey, folks, if you enjoyed that, we'd really like you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out a lot.